Three playoff spots remain in the East, with 3 weeks to go in the regular season. Toronto FC 2 are in the hunt, currently above the playoff line and look to stay there. Columbus Crew 2 have already been eliminated from postseason contention, but look to assist 4 other squads chasing the top 8. Match week 20 of MLS NEXT Pros at York Lions Stadium. Hello, welcome, I'm Ryan Lee, thanks for joining us. Although both teams come off of losses, the importance varies largely. Since the last time they played back on July 27th, Toronto secured points in 5 of the last 7, with 4 wins and a loss. Adding to the run would only boost the slim cushion they already have. Columbus, meanwhile, have looked to escape the nightmare of a 2025 season, the first time they've missed the playoffs in their history. However, that does not mean they have nothing to play for. As we take a look at the Eastern Conference table, there's been a lot of shakeups over the last several weeks with the playoffs tightening up. Toronto have only a slim margin, only 1 point above NYC and Orlando. However, there are opportunities, if some math falls their way, to maybe jump potentially Huntsville, assuming Huntsville's slide continues. As we mentioned before, Columbus Crew 2, it has not been the 2025 they've hoped for. However, there are 4 teams chasing Toronto and Carolina going above the top 8 that could use the assistance of Columbus Crew 2. Speaking of Crew 2, we take a look at their opposition in Toronto FC 2. 5 guys of the Toronto FC 2 roster returned from international duty. 10 goals come from the front 3 of Ayari, Nugent, Edwards, including the team leader of Ayari, who has 6. Fortier, Bostonberry, and Chukwu were all part of the Canadian U17 squad as they returned from international duty. The midfield are all comprising of first-year players, while the back 4 all have over 2 years of experience across. So while you have a very young, very inexperienced midfield, you have a lot of cohesion and a lot of opportunities of the back 4 who have played together and who have played at this level with the experience and the knowledge they have to protect Adisa De Rosario, making his 22nd start of the 2025 season, 10-7-4 between the pipes in 2025. As for Crew 2, they have basically swept across the entire roster since their match against Philly. 7 changes since the match versus Philadelphia Union. A lot of inexperience up front with Ovray and Pharrell Willis combined. 1 start between the 2 of them with Chase Adams in the middle. A lot of changes in the midfield as well, with some changes with international duty. Prince 4-4 hasn't played in over a month. Isaac Tortola hasn't played in a couple of weeks as well. It's also an opportunity for the back line to protect the first-time starter, Keller Abbott, who is making his first start in MLS NEXT Pro. Another week of MLS NEXT Pro action. 3 remain in this season, as opportunities come for both Columbus and for Toronto FC 2. For Toronto FC 2, they know that the margin of error is razor thin. Only 1 point above NYC and Carolina Core, who only sit in the 8th place slot. NYC and Orlando City B are in the 9-10 slots in the Eastern Conference. Not a lot of room for error for the Young Reds if they want to make the playoffs for the first time since missing the last 2 back-to-back. For Columbus Crew 2, it's already been a hellish 2025. The first time in their franchise history, they have not made the postseason. However, with Federico Higuain at the helm, he's already seen a 2-year turnaround from a last-place team to a top-3 team in Miami. A potential turnaround for Columbus begins with 3 weeks to go in the 2025 MLS NEXT Pro season. Columbus in the yellow, they go left to right, while Toronto right to left in the red, with Crew 2 already taking some of the early possession right out of the gate, trying to fly for a Crew 2 side that have been eliminated for a couple of weeks, but they do have a lot to play for. Not just in terms of pride, but the development of these guys. One of the youngest rosters in all of MLS NEXT Pro going into the season. The continuous development and patience and trust in the process for Federico Higuain and company to allow these guys to continuously grow in their development and to continuously improve as the year have gone. While they have seen improvement, it just hasn't been enough to get the results done. For Gianni Cimini in TFC2, coming off his 101st match against New England Revolution, a 2-1 loss up in Gillette Stadium. It was an opportunity to really see one of the most defensively stingy teams and trying to find ways to break them down before not only they wrap up a potential playoff run for the remainder of the regular season, but if they were to make a top 8, they would only see opponents with that level of defensive compactness going forward. Trying to play back to Elliott off of Pharrell Williams. He is offside as Willis making his first start in MLS Next Pro. Only been a part of this roster for about a month. He was signed on August 21st. Toronto take over possession after the offside on Crew 2. Toronto coming in 10-10-5. Good enough for 7th place in the Eastern Conference at 36 points. Currently tied for the final team in, Carolina Core, who come off of a blistering 4-2 win against Atlanta over the weekend as Ayari tried to cut through before he's disrupted by Elliott. Chukwu with the toss, back in his first action since being a part of the Canadian U17s over the past couple of weeks. Hasn't played since August 20th on the road against Philadelphia Union as Chukwu takes the reception for Stojadinovic. Toronto comes across. Operating on the far side with Fisher as it's cut centrally. Quick ricochet comes for Sullivan, but cannot corral. Continues to bounce in the box before Columbus get the clear, but not for long. Anton Bostonberry, first one back before he retreats towards Mark Fisher. Fisher, Fortier, and Bostonberry, the midfield trio for Gianni Cimini and Toronto FC 2. A very inexperienced group, all of them first years from the academy. However, Sullivan, the only one who was not from the academy, he came from the Pitt Panthers, as this one is launched deep. Nate Edwards on the chase. 4-4 behind, as Edwards attempted to keep. But instead it will result in a Columbus throw. Not exactly up to the par of Columbus Crew 2 teams of the past in this 2025 iteration. 5-16-4, only for 20 points, dead last in the Eastern Conference. A lot of their miscues have come on both ends of the pitch as Toronto continue the cycle. Attempted shot down the gut, couldn't make its way through off the foot of Stojadinovic. Willis tries to escape. Bouncing free, Quentin Elliott with space. Willis around to Ovray. Disrupted by Sullivan, so it's taken away by the Young Reds, and they will launch it end to end, where it will be held on by Keller Abbott. First time starter for Columbus Crew 2, the 16-year-old keeper, making not only his first start, but his first appearance in MLS Next Pro. Coming from the academy program, has seen some time with the USA Youth International program. Launch deep, looking for Prince 4-4. Edwards on his tail. Tortola launches and right to Di Rosario. Trying to spring forward. Here comes Nugent, one-on-one, but offside. First major decision being made by Nicolas Melita, our head official in the black today. Anton Hadziski and Rada Fazazi are the assistant referees, as Fabrizio Stasola is our fourth official for today's match. Elliott getting around a couple of TFC2 defenders. So he lays it across for Ovray. Ovray trying to set Elliott free after the return feed. However, Edwards can't get away, cut down by Chris Rogers, and that'll draw a foul. Five slots in the Eastern Conference are secure, with the bottom of those 5 seeds being Chattanooga FC in the number 5 seed. Huntsville only a single point back in the number 6 slot. However, they have not secured their slot. And then after the logjam at the top between Philadelphia Union and Huntsville, with a 6-point cushion between those 4 teams, a sustainable gap between number 6 Huntsville and number 7 Toronto, a 7-point difference. As Toronto look to operate, Fisher bringing Edwards forward. Edwards sliding back, Stojadinovic. Arching towards Sullivan as he looks for options. Coach Jimmy talking about the compactness of Columbus's defense and trying to break through, something that they do very well themselves. Trying to go in front as that ricochets wide. Sullivan got a clip, but not enough, and it's a goal kick for Keller Abbott. But what an opportunity for Toronto FC 2. You have all the bodies parked in the box between Nugent and Sullivan had his man lost. That was Gianmarco Donato, who he had beat on the run alone at the center of the penalty dot. However, couldn't get enough of a touch to get it within the pipes. But in opening 8 minutes, already some sustainable offense from Toronto. The question is, do Columbus have a counter punch? As this will go back to Toronto after the stumble by the captain, Michael Sullivan. Stojadinovic typically operating as a wingback. He was the right back in the last match versus New England. However, he is listed as one of the 2 center backs with Italo in the back as he takes a touch towards Di Rosario. You can expect a lot of Stojadinovic getting involved in the attack. As you can see the drop back from Mark Fisher as he tries to assist Italo and Di Rosario on the escape. Foot race between 4-4 and Edwards. Edwards is first. Bostonberry dances through, lays it back, scoop towards the box, and into the hands of Keller Abbott for his first save of the game. First time he's really had to make contact in this game for Keller Abbott. Has previously made a call up to the USA U15 squad for the 16-year-old, but has not played for the U15s. He didn't get his first cap on the youth side until he was with the U16s just this past May, the 27th of 2025. Played a 4-0 shutout win against Uruguay's U16 squad in a friendly. That really is the open and shut nature of his true professional experience, aside from what the academy has provided, as Ovray tries to escape but cannot get past the wall in red. Ovray already a decorated career with the Trinidad and Tobago international squad, only a part of the squad for a little over a month. Him and Pharrell Willis were signed on the same day on the 21st of August. However, with Ovray, he has all that experience in the Jamaican Premier League, both with Cavalier FC and Mount Pleasant. 4-4 and Edwards, cut in front. Adams left it behind, but no one was there for the receiving end, but it remains with Columbus. Toss to Tortola. Bostonberry in the way, and possession will flip. Two teams who have had their respective struggles with creating offensive opportunities and scoring goals. They're both bottom 5 in the league in the goal scoring department. Believe it or not, Columbus has actually scored 2 more goals this year over Toronto. TFC 4th fewest goals with 32 on the season, while Columbus has 34 goals, are 5th least. Trying to spring Nugent forward, but out of reach, so it's back toward Abbott. Willis with Elliott. Nugent pressures as he cycles around. Abbott just got it free of Rogers. Taken down, but Bostonberry can't retrieve before it becomes a foul towards Toronto. A little bit of high pressure from Toronto was enough for a miscue from Columbus to earn them a throw. Bostonberry works the far side with Edwards. Bostonberry cuts through, he's got space. Attempted cross is blocked. Lays it back towards Edwards. Back up top it comes between Chukwu and Italo. Stoyadinovic makes a move as he loosens it up towards Edwards. Just the passing back and forth on that far side between Fortier, Sullivan, and Stoyadinovic, but this one's crossed in, can't connect to Nugent before it's swept away by Rogers. Italo helps out. Bostonberry takes the throw on the ricochet off 4-4. This portion of the match is brought to you by BMO, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC 2. Fortier chips it. It appeared like Edwards was the intended target, but too high. And the thing that we've seen a lot of Columbus Crew are the short outlet passes, and going from not only those set pieces, but goal kicks as well, and it hasn't really served for those quick counterattacks as Di Rosario's way out of his box. Won the race on Willis, but had that gone the other way, could have spelled disaster. These two last played back on July 27th, where it was a 2-1 win favoring the Young Reds, the first time in this head-to-head that Toronto won. However, if you include the games that went to penalty shootouts, the good news for Toronto and their potential playoff push is that they have had points in the last 3 against Columbus. However, maybe the other side of that coin is The result has been split, to say the least. One PK win, a PK loss, and a regulation win. So Ayari tries to cross, touched in front, but over. Josh Nugent making his return from the lineup after being with the Canadian U18s as Ayari got around Quinton Elliott. And you have the lane for Josh Nugent to get the touch through, looking for his second goal of the season, but couldn't quite get there for the 18-year-old forward. Harassment from Toronto, trying to spring Nugent free, but can't corral. Ovray all the way back. Help comes from side. Nice touch play to free up Willis. Hesitates as he waits for help. Willis towards goal. Di Rosario swats it down. Didn't fully cross the line. And Adams was not there to tap it in. We remain scoreless in the 18th minute. A nice opportunity here by Pharrell Williams to take the chip shot, attempt towards goal. And you had some danger from Di Rosario. You saw it very clearly bounce on top of the line, did not fully cross. We remain scoreless. But a nice opportunity for Willis. Already got his first goal. Less than a month on the team. In his second appearance, it was in that 4-0 shutout against Inter Miami too, a couple of games back. Willis, a whole bunch of experience over in Europe. Some time in England, some time in Scotland. Most recently with Middleborough's U21 team, the EPL reserve side. Nugent dines it on his man as his shot is missed. Josh Nugent, so far in this opening 20 minutes, has played a little bit like his hair is on fire. And with locks like that, that's a lot of fire he's playing with. You see the speed, you've seen the lanes he's been able to operate at. Despite only being a first-year player and only 7 starts to his name, he has made quite an impact so far, at least in the opening 20 minutes, as he centers the front line with 2 of the veterans on this squad, between Hassan Ayari and Nate Edwards. Touch forward by Fortier, loosens out towards Fisher. Return to Fisher, couldn't get the touch he wanted to Edwards. Loose in front, has to react, turnover in the box, but it's clipped by Edwards, and that'll be a foul against Toronto. A lot of this high pressure from Toronto, something that Federico Higuain said was very reminiscent of the last couple times these two played. It's loose in the box again, cannot connect to Ayari. Willis tries to get free, stopped by Fortier. Nugent drops it, didn't reach Bossenberry. However, on that last header, Fortier's first. Edwards. Crossing. Not there for Nugent, but it is there for the first corner of the match. One of the biggest hiccups of Federico Higuain's squad has been the execution, not from box to box, but from the 18-yard box inward. Opening corner of the match. Let's see how the defending inside the box is here. As this one scooped in, headed up. As Chukwu gave it a go, but well wide. It's an Nice scoop in by Ayari, and you had the late charge in by Sullivan. And Chukwu had time to maybe settle things down and maybe try to reset on a potential passing play, but trying to get eyes for a goal, still without a goal contribution in this season. And after that very short-lived Columbus possession, right back to Toronto. See how much of the passing of Toronto is freeing up opportunities for other guys. Columbus defense like moths to a flame as 4-4 and Edwards chase that last opportunity, and it will remain with Toronto. Elliott got there before Ayari could, but doesn't change the fact that it remains with the Young Reds. Stojadinovic. Passing play disrupted. Quinton Elliott cut down, still loose. Adams helps out. Too short for Aubrey. Pivot for Bostonberry, loosens up. Nugent, Edwards, one-on-one, and a nice attack by Abbott to prevent Edwards from going further. Aggressive outside of the box play from both keepers we've seen in the first 25 minutes between Di Rosario and Keller Abbott. Something a decent Di Rosario's done very much so far this year. 22 matches into this regular season, 10-7-4, RTFC2 with number 77 between the pipes. Ayari tries to work free. Edwards on the crosser. Edwards towards goal, took a deflection, might have been off his own man, but regardless, it will be held on by Keller Abbott. This portion of the match is brought to you by LG, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC2. 6 shots to speak of in the opening 25 minutes. However, of all the opportunities that Toronto have had, none have been within frame. The only one that Columbus had was towards Adisa De Rosario. It's something that has been really puzzling about Columbus Crew all year. They don't get a lot of opportunities. They don't get a lot of opportunities towards goal. However, they have a very high shots on target percentage. They create a lot of high danger opportunities when they do get those opportunities. It's just that they don't really fall, and some of the communication in that final third and the overall execution can kind of fall by the wayside. And that's how you have a team like Columbus, who not only have the fewest shot attempts, but also one of the lowest scoring rates of the entire league. Add on some of the miscues and bits of possession just given up to the other team. Like the throw in for Chukwu. Gianni Cimini heavily directing traffic. The only head coach of TFC2 since joining MLS NEXT Pro, has a decade in the Toronto Academy, in the Toronto program, largely with the Academy program. Recently celebrated his 100th match as the head coach a couple weeks back. Abbott the header, settled by Boston Berry. Fortier with Edwards. Stojadinovic trying to spring Edwards free. He had options. Edwards towards goal and outside of the frame. While that ball looks like it was in the back of the net, it hit the outside of the frame. There was a little bit of a loose straggle of the net that it hit under, so it's not a goal, but it is going to be an opportunity for a corner for Toronto again as it ricocheted off a defender. Scooped in, headed outside the box, Chukwu to chase. Launching deep, punched out by Abbott, and Adams completes the clear. Not much further, it's Edwards. Ayari unable to link up, bobbling. Columbus is trying to escape. This is the only match on this Friday slate of games that has any relevance to the Eastern Conference. The other three are all West Coast matchups, Western Conference matchups. Last place in the West, SKC2, potentially an opportunity to help out a couple teams with Vancouver. Only 3 points above the line, as only a half an hour into his MLS NEXT Pro debut, Keller Abbott hits the deck. Opportunities for both teams in this match. For Toronto, they are tied with Carolina Core at 36 points apiece. They occupy the 7 and 8 slots in the Eastern Conference race. However, NYC and Orlando City B are both looking behind, 35 points apiece. And for the intents and purposes of Columbus Crew 2, we have Atlanta United 2 and FC Cincinnati desperately hoping that the Crew can potentially do something, because there is a sustainable gap to make up for both Cincinnati and Atlanta. They are still both mathematically in the race. While Crown Legacy is above Cincinnati in the standings, Crown Legacy do not have enough games in hand to even attempt a catch-up. So Crown Legacy are eliminated despite having the same number of points as Cincinnati, 29. Atlanta would have to make up 5 points on either Carolina or Toronto to get into the top 8. And for Atlanta United 2, that would probably make a bit of a rough issue, just make that sting a little more, considering they've yet to make a playoffs in their career, in their franchise histories, Atlanta United 2s, as Abbott makes his way back to his feet. This portion of the match is brought to you by Chevrolet, a proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC2. 30 minutes in, 15 to go in the first half of play. And with this playoff race, or the pseudo playoff race, if you would, for Gianni Cimini and Toronto FC2, they really talked about embracing the challenge. especially down the stretch with what could come for the future of these two teams. As Elliott tries to spring free, he's got Tortola, but the attempted cross goes nowhere. However, good news for Crew. They've got their first corner of the match. Kyle Ovray does come towards Quinton Elliott, ready to take the service. Elliott, chopped down. Ovray tried to go forward, but the tap out by Fortier gives it back to the Crew. Fortier not in the lineup with Toronto last couple matches, as he was with the Canadian U17s for the 16-year-old, including a couple of appearances in this last September window against Morocco and England. Calm 65-degree day here in York, Ontario. Looking in the corner flags, there is a fair amount of wind. About 3.5 to 4 kilometers per hour. Foot race, Ayari and Elliott. Elliott stumbles, Ayari's on his feet. In front, trying to get free, Sullivan got tangled up. Ayari slithers through, but a nice takeaway by Elliott. For a Willis trying to catch Diosario off his line. Willis with a try, but blocked. Well done by Mark Fisher in pursuit. All the experience for Mark Fisher at 24 years of age, formerly the Stanford Cardinal. The hustle back and the slide down to prevent the opportunity from Pharrell Willis, and it will give Columbus their second corner of the match. As we enter the final 10 minutes of the opening half. But a back and forth with Italo and John Marco Donato inside the box. A lot of these guys getting some much needed experience, not just to continuously advance, but also to maybe see some eyes up other places like Columbus have over the last couple of months. Wind has picked up here in York as Elliott takes it on the near flag. Overhead, chopped down, dribbled through, and it's going to be a back-to-back corners for Columbus. Chase Adams able to find a lane on the back post to escape from Stojadinovic. Just got the touch on Stojadinovic after he got the header through. And Elliott will go end to end. Toronto trying to extend a point streak of 3 in their last 4, which include 2 wins and a penalty win. In-swinger from Elliott. Diosario to punch out as there was contact inside of the box. As mentioned, lots of opportunities for these guys to continuously develop their game, especially for Crew 2. Already having shipped out a couple of their top contributors so far in this season, with opportunities elsewhere. Trio of guys in the last month were sent to the USL Championship from Columbus throughout the month of August. Well, impressed this heading to Hartford United. Goalkeeper Luke Pruder, he was stellar at Points of the Year with Indy 11. And Colorado Springs switchbacks can see the return of Colin Rocca as Adams turns around. Adams towards the box, just out of range of Willis, and held on by Di Rosario. Chuku was Stojadidovic. Di Rosario again high out of his box. Miss hit by Edwards. Turnover, Forte from range and too high. What an opportunity for Tim Forte in Toronto FC 2 after the takeaway from the throw-in, just trying to go left footer, but couldn't find it within frame. Comes across between this back line of Keyshawn Ferdinand, Donato, and Rogers. Not close to Chase Adams, only Di Rosario. You can very much see how both of these teams are trying to utilize the long ball to spring guys forward. We saw that work a couple of times with Josh Nugent. Willis got an opportunity or two on the deep try as well. However, what that does do, even if the possession is conceded, is an opportunity to pressure high, something both teams have really tried to do, as Ibra Sai launching Quinton Elliott. Ferdinand reverses back. Four, cuts back, Willis to center, can't get by Adams. Ovre gets it back. He was harassed and slowed down as Ayari starts to break out. He's got Edwards. Nugent might have a lane, but it was clipped down by Donato as he goes down. We've already seen plenty of warnings come from our head official, Nicolas Milita. Nothing egregious so far. We haven't seen any cards come out of his pocket yet, but we have seen quite a fair number of whistles. Only 7 to this point, which in all fairness is not very much, all things considered. You're only looking at maybe a whistle every 6 minutes, give or take. And there most certainly have been some offenses that you could argue are cardable. But with where we are in the season, final 3 matches, we might expect opportunities for the guys to play on more, except when you are offside, like right there. Nothing to speak of in the first 42 minutes of the timeline. However, something could change in the final 3.5 minutes, as Toronto have been bruising the ball with 8 total shot attempts, but only the 1 on target. A lot of opportunities, just not very accurate with them. especially because they've been one of the worst teams at shot accuracy, bottom 10 in the league in terms of shot attempts to shots on target. Ayari sent free as he blazes by Elliott. Ayari to center, clipped away by Columbus. Ferdinand will finish the job as he gets taken down. And for the first time in today's game, we will see the card pointed in the direction of Michael Sullivan. We saw Sullivan coming for the slide late. He very clearly clips the inside of Ferdinand's foot. Keyshawn Ferdinand, Canadian native actually. However, he's not from Ontario, he's from Montreal. Got to go over a couple provinces over in Quebec, but he does have experience playing with not only the Canadian Youth International side in the U20 level, but also with Atletico Ottawa, the Canadian Premier League. The times he spent up here in Ontario, as he almost had a potential triple team on either side. Two minutes to go as Tortola twirls. Tortola from range and right towards Di Rosario. Couple opportunities for Columbus. They are launching these things from range a lot of times so far. That's one of the big differences between Columbus and Toronto, at least in this opening 43 minutes, is when Columbus have gotten their opportunities, a lot of them have been well outside of the box. And Toronto, they're trying to find ways either to get those crossers in or to find a lane to run in short. Edwards offside from the pass on Fortier. Nice poke by Sullivan, springing free. Nugent, Bostonberry to center, left behind. Ayari waits, he takes, but blocked in front. Corner for Toronto. Two extra minutes coming on the board, but a nice opportunity for the Canadian side as Sullivan, that's the second chance he tried to reach for a ricochet and couldn't get it through, but Ayari, team's leading goal scorer, couldn't get it through. However, Ayari will take his place at the corner flag as you have the extra pair of minutes on the board. Hassan Ayari, high service, too much for Nugent. Fortier around Tortola. 1 minute burned of 2. Toronto have been swarming the net. They've had plenty of chances to take the lead, but they just haven't buried yet. Richard Chukwu. Ayari all the way back for Mark Fisher. Edwards. Bostonberry comes to help. Now Bostonberry wants to give it a go. Bostonberry in front, couldn't get by the defender. Clipped in, Nugent settles, Ayari waits. curls it around, back to Chukwu. Chukwu and Ayari try to find help on the near side. He'll just bank it off of Elliott for the throw. Long throw for Sullivan, but headed out. And after the clearance by Columbus, that'll do it for the opening half of play as we remain scoreless through 45 minutes. We take a look around the league from last week, plus highlight stats and a busy upcoming schedule on the other side of the break.
Youngest MLS debutant, Kevin Sullivan.
Luna.
Yes! That is a banger! Absolute scorcher! Spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
Action.
I'm hanging on like a fridge to a magnet. It's a jigsaw with all the right pieces. You and me, we go good together. You and I go good together. You and I, we go good together. We go good together.
Two playoff-hungry squads collide in the battle of the independents. Chattanooga FC and Carolina Core FC. Will the boys in blue secure the season sweep? Or will the Foxes earn their first win of the series to catapult them into the playoffs? Find out on September 21st, live on MLSNextPro.com.
It's that time of the year where we hear of playoff clinching, record chasing, and Next Pro alums in the League Cup final. April Marie Aguilar made her way to New York on this week's episode of The Report.
Forward by Farnsworth.
Curled Sandoval! Take a bow! Diesel! An absolute rocket! It was helped along for Adams, who recovers it here. It's Adams! Oh, it's a firecracker!
Welcome back to The Report. I'm April Maria Aguilar, coming to you from New York City, outside the iconic New York Stock Exchange. It's Charging Bull, the perfect backdrop to represent the power and drive of the New York Red Bulls too. From their rise in the standings to their young talent making waves, this team embodies both the grit and big dreams that define this city. The powerhouse New York Red Bulls 2, Union 2, and City 2 have all clinched a spot in the 2025 MLS NEXT Pro playoffs. St. Louis City 2 became the first team to clinch a spot in the playoffs following a 3-1 road victory over North Texas SC. On the eastern side, Red Bulls 2 and Union 2 punched their ticket to the playoffs, with the latter getting theirs less than 2 match weeks ago. We caught up with the Red Bulls 2 head coach, Michael Bradley, to get his thoughts on the upcoming postseason.
We've had a really good season up till now, and obviously with 4 games to go, we've qualified for the playoffs, but we want to make sure that we use these last 4 games to take every point possible. We want to make sure that we can give ourselves home field advantage for as long as possible in the playoffs. When the playoffs come, then we know that everything gets cranked up a few notches and there's a little bit more at stake. There's a little bit less margin for error, but we're going to enjoy the part of testing our football in environments like that as well.
And with 4 games in hand, the Baby Bulls have a chance to smash the single-season team goals record, currently held by the 2023 Colorado Rapids 2 squad with 70 goals.
That stood out in their win against LAFC 2, especially on that first goal, had their fullback sprinting wide into the box. But here's Jääskeläinen, laid off to Cousin! St. Louis, our city, red hot. Glover leaking in behind. He's free. Glover!
Perez drags in the middle for McSorley. Falls back to him, and he scores!
Loses the ball. Kidd wins it back. Mateo Kidd shuts the door. McSorley. Kidd. Perez!
Now from the high-powered teams in the East to the dominant offensive threats in the West, nothing says we mean business in the more than 8 straight matches won by St. Louis City 2 to break the consecutive wins record. Their dominant performance also on track to break the all-time single-season points record. 66 points is a mark that City 2 are chasing. They have been in fine form all season. They went on a run of 8 straight wins, starting with a 3-2 win against MNU FC 2 on May 18th. The win streak was broken when they tied Ventura County FC on July 16th, but they gained an extra point in a shootout win. Interim head coach John Hackworth spoke to us about the team's run of form.
As a group that is unique. They hold themselves accountable. They're hard on each other, whether that's in training or games. Hopefully we have a really good push in the playoffs, being able to play in our beautiful stadium at Energizer Park and have our fans support us. That is, very special to all of us and something we're very proud of. So hopefully we can continue that.
St. Louis City 2 has been unstoppable as they continue to ride a 15-game unbeaten streak going back to May 11th when they lost to the Town FC. And following closely behind and almost as impressive was the Town FC's 7-game win streak and 10 matches unbeaten. This matches the previous record in each of the MLS NEXT Pro seasons dating back to the league's debut in 2022.
Whips it in! Oh, De Rosario! Georgie has it. It's on EGO, lost step over towards the end line. Cuts it, goes down! Penalty! Brilliant by Georgie! Yellow card given! Takes a step forward. And rolls it in the back of the net! The Sounders go up 2-0. They celebrate together in the far corner here. And here comes Rothrock. Can you put icing on the cake? Here he goes. And the 18, yes he can! Oh, the Sounders fans up on their feet! And his hometown hero, Paul Rothrock! And that's just about that. The Sounders will win the 2025 Leagues Cup. It just had to be.
The pathway is real. The 2025 Leagues Cup final isn't just a battle between 2 MLS heavyweights. It's also a showcase for MLS NEXT Pro alumni making their mark on the biggest stage. Ozaze de Rosario and Paul Rothrock both sharpened their game in MLS NEXT Pro, and now they're suiting up in the Leagues Cup final. For de Rosario, that means proving his offensive prowess translates against top competition. In Rothrock's case, it was a hometown hero delivering in a final against Inter Miami. It's stories like these that highlight exactly why MLS NEXT Pro exists, a league designed to develop, elevate, and prepare young talent for moments like this.
What's going through my mind right now, it's crazy. It's a dream come true. What you can say, I beat Messi in a final. It's a dream come true.
Brian Schmetzer told us you have been the surprise of the season. He said you're wide-eyed at training, you're hungry. Where does that come from?
The love, the passion. I want to be a champion just like my dad, and I'm a champion.
Congratulations to the Seattle Sounders and all of the MLS Next Pro alumni for showing up and showing out at the 2025 Leagues Cup. But now we're heading into the most competitive part of the 2025 MLS Next Pro season. Here are the dates you won't want to miss. The business end of the season is upon us. Both the Eastern and Western Conference playoff races are extremely tight this season, culminating in Decision Day on October 5th. The first round of the playoffs will begin on the weekend of October 15th, and it'll lead up to the date you won't want to miss, MLS Next Pro Cup on the weekend of November 7th. We can't wait to see what fireworks are in store. Well, that does it for this edition of The Report. Be sure to tune into the next episode for the latest around MLS Next Pro. For now, I'm April Marie Aguilar, and we'll catch you guys next time. Adios.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro.
Action.
Two playoff-hungry squads collide in the Battle of the Independents. Chattanooga FC and Carolina Core FC. Will the boys in blue secure the season sweep, or will the Foxes earn their first win of the series to catapult them into the playoffs? Find out on September 21st, live on MLSNextPro.com.
The Sunday slate of MLS Next Pro action begins with the Battle of the Independents, with Chattanooga hosting Carolina Core. As we take a look at the upcoming schedule in MLS Next Pro in match week 28 out of 30. With 3 games left to go in the regular season, the action is only going to come into crunch time from here. Atlanta might be on their last legs come Saturday as they go to Crown Legacy, but a very busy Sunday slate. As we saw, it's not just about the Independents, but also lots of back and forth between who could potentially increase or maybe even decrease their seeding, depending on what could happen in the next couple of days. Neither Toronto or Columbus are in action over the weekend. For Columbus, you'll hear us and our crew make our way to Cincinnati, where they might be on their last gasp against Crew 2 for their potential playoff lives, as you have a whole host of games, not only for teams trying to get in the hunt or stay in the hunt, but maybe even clinch their opportunity to punch their ticket into the postseason beyond October the 5th. Before we can think about the playoffs and the race, we have to go through what just happened in the last 45 minutes as we go through our halftime highlights here in Toronto between TFC2 and Columbus Crew. Couple of opportunities, however, nothing getting behind either Abbott's or Di Rosario yet. That was the first dangerous opportunity. Sullivan got the tiniest of nicks to push it wide. But Hassan Ayari, he continues to operate this near side, trying to connect to Nugent in the middle, however unsuccessfully. And Pharrell Willis, he has been dangerous quite a bit on this near side as he tries to make his way around Stojadinovic on the chip shot. But Di Rosario swats it down and collects it before Chase Adams can't do anything more. And this is the last opportunity for Columbus. This was towards the end of the half. It was Isaac Tortola from distance, attempting his first goal, but unable to get anything there either. As we mentioned, for both sides, Columbus, not a lot of opportunities, but when they do get them, they are effective at getting them towards goal. The theme of their season, they don't get a lot of opportunities. When they do, they are towards goal. However, they aren't getting behind the net. That's been the theme of Columbus's Crew season. It's one of the reasons they've struggled offensively. For Toronto, it's a bit of a different story. Lots of scoring opportunities. They have not been very efficient opportunities, and that is one of the reasons why they only have the one shot on target and no goals to speak of to this point through 45 minutes of play. But 3 corners per side have been able to create some opportunities, but once again, both Adisa De Rosario and Keller Abbott have been perfect. For De Rosario across his 47 starts, while Keller Abbott on the other end, today is start number 1 for him. We flip ends of the pitch for the second half of play. Toronto will be in the red. They start off left to right to begin the half. The final 45, while Columbus Crew 2, many teams look to them to potentially gain some sort of assistance in the playoff hunt, as Crew 2 not only try to look to escape the bottom of the Eastern Conference, but maybe their biggest rivals in FC Cincinnati or Atlanta United trying to look for some help. Potentially NYC and Orlando trying to prevent Toronto from going any higher up the standings, as they're both only 1 point behind the 7-8 deadlock between Toronto and Carolina Core, sitting at 36 points apiece. While Carolina, they have to go up against Chattanooga, who already claimed their tickets into the postseason. Carolina look to follow suit in that battle of the independents, as we highlighted at the half. Toronto want to advance as well, as they have to take care of the next 45 minutes between them and Columbus Crew as we start the second half here at York Lions Stadium in York, Ontario. Ryan Lee and our entire MLS Next Pro crew, we thank you for joining us here, where it has been scoreless but quite eventful. 12 total shot attempts, however only 2 have been on frame. Not heavily tested were the 2 keepers, De Rosario and Abbott. A lot of opportunities still to come for both squads if they want to either A, for Toronto, advance their way up the table and increase the cushion they have on the table, or for Columbus Crew to maybe find a way to play spoiler. As Edwards all the way in front, trying to center, Nugent lets it fly, Ayari chases back. Ayari, Bostonberry, cuts across as it's widened towards Edwards. Fisher. Fortier's got room. Across the wall as Edwards elevates Ayari. Ayari towards goal, and just across the mouth of goal, can't get it on. Once again, another chance for Toronto, another one not on frame, as Ayari let it fly, trying to go from the wide angle. It just bounces across the face of a diving Keller Abbott, but just out of his reach as well. And you'd think that maybe with the way that Toronto have been pressuring the defense up high, and the way that Toronto have been able to get opportunity after opportunity, you think that would phase a 16-year-old goalkeeper making his first appearance, but that has not been the case for Keller Abbott. He has been calm in the box as his team look to work the other way, with Quinton Elliott looking to operate. Versailles with options up the middle. Laid back with Keyshawn Ferdinand. Previously of the CF Montreal system, where that is his boyhood club as the Montreal native. Chip towards Adam, headed free, but De Rosario will be first. Frederico Higuain talking to us in the midweek about how these opportunities will come for the players over the last 3 weeks. You'll see a lot of new guys getting opportunities for the first time, or some of them getting extended minutes as Chase Adams takes it off the deflection. Adams trying to spring Willis free, but they were not on the same page. As we mentioned, Federico Higuain mentioning to us how the game belongs to the game belongs to the players, and all the coaching staff can really do is just try to support them in their journey of the development of the players and their long-term futures in the sport, whether if that be into the MLS or elsewhere, considering how Crew 2 have already loaned out 3 players to the USL Championship last month. And for Federico Higuain, he has seen his fair share of teams that maybe have not performed at their best. '81 matches as a head coach dating back to 2023, where he saw that Inter Miami squad go all the way to the bottom of the Eastern Conference. They had a turnaround in 2024 where they were in the top 3 with more than double the amount of points of the previous year. Dead last of a 13-team Eastern Conference in 2023 with 22 points, and then going top 3 in the Eastern Conference in 2024 with 48, so more than double the table point output. And a lot of that, he mentioned, was just due to the process of watching these guys grow. Di Rosario comes out of his box to prevent Elliott from getting contact. Although a lot of the pieces were similar between those two Inter Miami squads for Federico Higuain, he mentioned that when you have so many young players, some of them on this Columbus squad, not just in this 11, but as a whole, as young as 18 and 17 in some cases, even Prince Forfor, as young as 16 years old, you need to give them time to marinate and start to not only find the maturity in the physical parts of the game, but the mental as well. As it's chipped away, Tortola prevents the clearance. Edwards tries to get through, and it's a free kick for Toronto. Edwards dragged down by Sai, and a dangerous free kick opportunity for Toronto 5 minutes into the half. You're maybe looking at a 20-meter attempt here for TFC, as the clearance by Sai was thwarted by Edwards, and then he just took him down by the shoulder. Ayari's been serving the corners. He stands alongside Stojadinovic. Stojadinovic, a career-high 2 goals so far this year. Ayari with 6, also a career-high mark. Tying a mark that he's had last year as well. 12 seasons between this year and last. Ayari towards goal and over. Ayari looking for his first goal in over a month. You have to look back on August 2nd against Chattanooga FC, but he's been letting that thing rip almost any chance he gets. He just hasn't been very accurate so far. But just that shoot first mentality, trying to get them within frame. Already a pair of shots in this match. However, nothing truly threatening on Keller Abbott. We saw that other opportunity that went wide, that skipped across laterally at the beginning of the half as well. Chris Rogers. Ferdinand trying to set up Ovre. Up the gut it goes for Adams, but nothing more, and it'll remain with the Crew. Since the last time these two played on July 27th, it's been 2 very different stories for Columbus and Toronto. Toronto, they have points in 5 of the last 7. That includes 4 wins and a draw. 13 points within that stretch. Ibrasai Has a triple team on him. He'll bank it off of Fortier to win the throw. Sai at center, elevates, trying to find a man, but not there as it bounces towards Di Rosario. Ayari forced to race back. 4-4 will be first. That ball lost steam as it makes its way towards Michael Sullivan, and Toronto will reclaim it. Huntsville City watching tightly because a Columbus win would put them in the playoff picture. Nate Edwards in front, might be alone. Edwards cuts back. He gets taken down. No calls, still play on. Elliott with the clearance. Everyone north of the border were clamoring for a penalty, but Toronto are back on. Bostonberry near side. He's got Edwards with a lane. Stoyadinovich makes his way centrally before it's clipped out of play. And that actually last deflected off of Edwards, so that will be a goal kick towards Abbott. This portion of the match is brought to you by BMO, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC 2. FC Cincinnati also watching very tightly. If Toronto can get a win in any fashion, plus a couple extra scenarios, it would eliminate the Young Garys. That would also depend on whether or not Cincinnati can take care of business themselves. Cincy to play the New England Revolution over the weekend, as Stoyadinovich will take it all the way back to his own box. Columbus have been eliminated for a couple of weeks. Toronto cannot clinch or be eliminated. However, there are other teams patiently waiting, including Huntsville and FC Cincinnati. Carolina Core likely in that mix as well. As we mentioned, NYC and Orlando are 1 point behind the deadlock of Toronto and Carolina. Nice bank pass towards Ayari, but he was offside. Flags have gone up a couple times so far in this game. Really put a couple scoring opportunities for both teams to screeching halts. It's hard to generate momentum when the second you have it, it can be gone just as easily. But nice turnover Fortier loosens up to Bostonberry. Bostonberry centers, is in front and missed. Josh Nugent was one-on-one with Keyshawn Ferdinand and he couldn't push it behind Abbott. What a tackle by Fortier to get it loose off of Chris Rogers. And then you had a break for Toronto. They had 3 players on that break with the 2 Columbus defenders on the near side. It was Bostonberry with Fortier and Nugent was body on body with Donato and couldn't get it past. Ferdinand tried to loosen towards Elliott. As side tracks. And all Nugent can do is put the pressure on and force side to just whip it out of play. But this has been one of the many misfortunes of Columbus Crew 2 over the season. They've coughed up opportunities. Some of them high danger opportunities, some of them even leading directly to goals. A little bit of pressure forcing Columbus to just dump it out of their own end, or maybe even give up some throws and corners off of untimely bounces. Nugent tries to escape, but Sy completes the sweep. Mark Fisher. Bostonberry. Bostonberry returned from a stint with Canadian U17s earlier in the month as it centrally placed towards Stojadinovic. Ayari looks for space with Stojadinovic. Chukwu crosses into the hands of Keller Abbott. The only major experience of Keller Abbott's career was 1 start with the USA U16s. That was earlier in the year, about 4 months ago in a shutout in a friendly against Uruguay. And right there, another example of what we spoke about earlier, of those untimely self-inflicted wounds of Columbus. While it is improbable, there is a potential opportunity to catch up against Huntsville 7 points back. Edwards is one-on-one. Edwards, wide angle and missed again. Shot number 13 for Toronto, only 1 on target still. They are swarming the net, and Gianni Cimini has to be pulling his hair out. So many opportunities, none of them testing Abbott. And when you have a 16-year-old keeper making his MLS Next Pro debut, you have to test the keeper. But right now, the inexperience of Keller Abbott has been going unscathed for Columbus. He's only had to make 1 save all game, Abbott. And that was back in the first half. Here goes 4-4, trying to put pressure on, bouncing around, no one can sweep it through. Bostonberry just releases to open up room. Columbus, a team that have, as we mentioned, with some of the giveaways and turnovers they've had trouble even getting into the attacking third at points. Something they've struggled with all year long. Just even getting final third entries, sustainable time to operate in the attacking half or the attacking third. Despite being efficient when they do have their chances, and you can't generate anything, it does make it so much more difficult, especially when a lot of your top playmakers aren't available, potentially because either the coaching staff of Federico Higuain trying to get minutes to other guys, trying to give them looks potentially to see if they're going to be available for next year. Or maybe even the potential of them being back in Columbus where they take on Toronto's first team tomorrow on the MLS side. Toronto FC side that has struggled on the MLS side, to say the least. Already eliminated from the playoff race. We've seen this from some of the other teams in the MLS where they'll just bring on the whole slew of second team guys to give them first team minutes. However, Toronto's been a lot of the usual suspects, including Mark Fisher on that last entanglement, as Donato did enough to win the throw. Ovray escapes, Adams has Elliott. Quinton Elliott tries to get around Chukwu but lost control. Touch pass, can't get through, Adams. Unable to connect with Willis, but back towards Columbus regardless, as we're 20 minutes into the half. Italo, partial flub, gets the clearance on the second try for only a throw. This portion of the match is brought to you by Ritz, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC 2. Sai, up the gut, Chase Adams, widens, Willis, makes a man miss, Willis stumbles, Adams, header, too high. A glorious opportunity for Crew 2 as they finally found some juice on the offense. Pharrell Willis opening up some room, and Chase Adams at the top of the six got the header by with Di Rosario way out of his line, but just couldn't bury it through. And this will be the chance for Gianni Cimini to make his first set of changes. Costa Iliadis and Daquan Barrow will enter the match with Nate Edwards and Josh Nugent, both dangerous, however, couldn't get by or behind Keller Abbott. So this will be some change-ups on the offensive side of the ball. Daquan Barrow, the 21-year-old, formerly of the Academy. He's only making his 36th appearance across 3 seasons with Toronto FC 2. He's played in each of the last 5 matches with a long hiatus of about 2.5 months. Just wasn't in the lineup at any point, just trying to cycle through the available options at forward. As Adams going from deep with Di Rosario off his line, but can't connect. Not accurate enough for Chase Adams, despite being a back-to-back 9-goal scorer. Costa Iliadis is the other substitute for Toronto. 19-year-old midfielder, formerly of the CF Montreal youth system. Iliadis lets it bounce out of play. Iliadis just subbing in about a minute and a half ago, and he has not seen very much playing time at all over the last 2 months. Only 27 combined minutes. This one ricochets, it's loose. Side of the goal as 4-4 has to be quick on it as Iliadis was chasing. Iliadis, only 27 minutes across 3 matches in August, but played 24 minutes in the last match against New England. Here comes Bostonberry. Iliadis crossing, ricochets, can't connect with Barrow, but Ayari's on the other end. Stoyadinovic opens up room as he had Chukwu and Italo back. As Fortier helps out too. Tortola to scoop. Not very far. Iliadis, one-on-one. Iliadis wide angle, but a nice sliding tackle by Chris Rogers, but it's a corner to Toronto. First of the half for either side as Columbus gets ready for a couple changes. But the captain, Chris Rogers, coming through. Iliadis all alone on the near side, trying to get his first goal of the season, and well-timed tackle, all ball, nothing problematic about that one. Served in, headed away by Ferdinand. Back up top, Fisher with Sullivan. Towards goal and into the hands of Abbott. Way to get the hands up for Keller Abbott before anyone else on Toronto could potentially get a deflection there, as we're in the final 20 minutes of regulation, still scoreless. Ibrasai has to be careful. You see all the red jerseys coming up. Trying to corner Columbus. Elliott got past one. Now it's an opportunity, but Di Rosario not shy about being the aggressor on any of those one-on-ones to prevent an opportunity, as we have a man dropping to turf right at the center circle. So as you can see, it's Brent Adu-Giamfi and Anthony Alloway right at the sideline, and we have the next set of substitutions coming on. Prince Forfor will make his exit, as will Isaac Tortola. Tortola got a little nicked up on the last play and had to just deal with it essentially because he was on the pitch still, and there was no stoppages at all, so it does allow Adu-Giamfi to make his way in. Same with Anthony Alloway. Pair of academy products, both of them 19 years old in the midfield. However, Adu-Giamfi, he's listed as a forward, but he does play a good amount of midfield at points for Columbus Crew too. Both of them with a wealth of experience in the Columbus system, with Alloway 3 seasons on 45 matches. And for Adu-Giamfi, he's been a part of the academy program for 6 years now, but he's only played the last 3 in MLS NEXT Pro. Tortola and Forfor, the ones being replaced. Toronto win it back again. Iliadis wide. Towards center. Chop down, Barrow can't get through. "14 shots attempted for Toronto, still only 1 on frame. Another one squandered by the Young Reds. They've been getting opportunities, they are getting them in the side of the box, just not inside of the pipes. As the whistle will slow things down, as this portion of the match is brought to you by MasterCard, proud sponsor and fan of Toronto FC2. Rogers, look out, Iliadis on his tail, but Holloway will receive. Nice trip by Fisher. Iliadis could not complete the pass for Bostonberry, but it'll come back to Toronto on the throw. Coach Cimini really crediting what the guys did in their efforts against the Revolution last time out, how they were so sound defensively and how they were able to create offensive opportunities. They just weren't able to maximize it, especially for a team that was so hard to break down defensively because they put so many numbers right in front of the goal. It was also something reminiscent that Columbus have done in the last couple of matches as well. How the defense is so compact and they can really slow you down when you possess the ball. Trying to bring the tempo was the main point of emphasis against this Columbus side for Toronto. They just haven't broken through yet. A lot of scoring chances, not even very many on frame. Iliadis keeps it in play, but only to give it right back to Donato and Abbott. Sai stripped from range and into the hands of Abbott, but a nice read by Keller Abbott to chase back and reach with the hands. We've seen so many of these tries for both teams. It's not the trip by Ibra Sai, it's the long-range try from Hassan Ayari with Abbott well outside of his box. We've seen Chase Adams go for those as well against Di Rosario on the other end. Especially with two keepers who are so aggressive coming out of the box to try to not only play balls, but maybe try to prevent any sort of odd man rushes or one-on-one opportunities. Especially when those balls come loose. Not in the 18, but maybe in the next 10 or 15 yards beyond it. Chop down, Adu Giamfi, holds back, Adams, he missed it! Chase Adams, golden opportunity after golden opportunity. Still searching for the elusive double digits, has not done so across his 2 MLS Next Pro seasons. However, the good thing for Columbus, they got a clip and a corner. This is their first of the half for a side across 75.5 minutes. Ibra Sai just took himself out of that play. He just walked behind the bench. He might be going to the sideline. Something's not right there. So no Ibra Sai temporarily. We don't see a sub yet, but it is Quinton Elliott to serve the 4th corner of the match for Columbus. Curled in, chopped down by Adams. Follow up is missed. Although Columbus are also missing a lot of opportunities, they are having a more efficient offensive day than Columbus have. The 2 shots on target off of 8 attempts versus the 2 shots on target for Toronto off of 16 attempts. So it looks like it was a wardrobe malfunction for Ibra Sai. So if you see anyone wearing a plain jersey, that is Ibra Sai, number 33. Took himself out of the last corner opportunity, and they got him replacement jersey quick. Might have been a tear or something. But regardless, we play on the final dozen minutes. Rogers, harassed by Barrow. Can't connect to Holloway. Iliadis tries to find Barrow up the seam. Slow down as Sai cuts it off. Back to Ibrasai. He's got Willis. Working on Sullivan. Holloway joins. Barrow cuts his man down, no whistle, chance for Toronto, Iliadis. Hassan Ayari's free, but he fumbled on the collection. Alone on that far side as reinforcements come. Hassan Ayari, inward he goes. Chukwu, across, Barrow keeps it in play right to the hands of Abbott. Kyle Ovray, Trinidad and Tobago international, lays it off for Pharrell Willis. Both of them under 5 matches in their very short MLS Next Pro careers. For Ovray, 5 appearances on 2 starts. However, he has 87 total pro matches between his time in Jamaica and a couple years in MLS Academy programs between 2022 and 2023 with Minnesota United and Sporting Kansas City, respectively. Sai at center. Ovray. Cut down in the box. Trying to get a whistle for Willis, but it won't go. Bostonberry tries to shake off Holloway. Centers, Fortier. Stojadinovic with Chukwu. Final 10 minutes of regulation. Columbus and Carolina tied at the 7-8 with 36 apiece. New York City and Orlando patiently watch as they're only a single point back. Iliadis near side, working on Holloway. Curls it, header, it's over! Another golden opportunity as Barrow was all by himself. That was Donato who went away from Barrow in the middle of the box. And usually one of the generic rules of thumb about headers is to try to smack it down to at least get a bounce towards goal. Instead, he got under it and it went skyward. As you have a man down right near the center, that's Tim Fortier. And with that last little service, could be potentially Toronto trying to buy time. We might be seeing, we haven't seen a change from either side since, but you do have 3 men coming up. And now we're gonna have to sort things out with Inza Kone and Alex Gimbel right next to the official as Lucas Olguin will make his way into the match. So Fortier was the one that was nicked up on the last play. Olguin is the one standing alone for Toronto. And then you have Kone and Gimbel for Columbus. So there goes the substitution for Lucas Olguin as Fortier will leave. And we have a change on the attacking wings for Frederick Higuain. Alex Gimbel, 16 years old from the academy program, only his 11th appearance. Hasn't appeared in about 2 weeks for Columbus Crew 2. However, it's only his first season. And also the MLS Next Pro debut of Inza Kone, very well known from his home country of France, playing indoor in futsal, a part of the France international futsal team. Signed a week ago today on the 12th. He has 19 goals in 41 matches across his time in the French futsal leagues. Iliadis near side. Takedown just in front of the box, nothing will go. Adams lets Italo poke it out of play. And with Kone and Gimple coming in, that's Ovray and Willis on the exit. Three changes made by Toronto, with 4 made by Columbus. Trying to connect to Gimble, too far as Fisher will watch it roll across the end line. Deep ball, Sullivan one-on-one, but it's held on by Abbott. The composure by Keller Abbott to not only push on Sullivan, but to make sure he got hands-on as Columbus will force the flag to rise. Final 5 minutes in a scoreless match. Bostonberry with room. Iliadis. Too high for either Sullivan or Barrow to really threaten on that last chance. If Columbus can pull a rabbit out of the hat and take the 3 points from Toronto, it would punch Huntsville's ticket into the playoffs. If Toronto get a win in any fashion and Cincinnati cannot do anything against New England, it'll threaten Cincinnati's playoff hopes. Adu Giamfi. Help comes from Elliott. Kone. Side. Into the area. Adams heads it. Settled. Back to Adams. Alloway tries to escape. Bostonberry walks free. Might be an odd man rush for Toronto, as Bostonberry taken down at center, and that's a yellow card for Ibrasai. Bostonberry knew that if he broke past Sai, he was off to the races. It was a 3-on-2, but Sai taking his 6th yellow of the season to prevent a potential odd man rush for Toronto FC2. And this puts the momentum at a screeching halt, like we mentioned before. It's happened for both sides. But Toronto just trying to make sure that they continue to apply the pressure the situation calls for. Barrow charging in, cannot link in. Right back to Toronto. Hassan Ayari. Elevated, too high for Barrow. Iliadis cannot save it. And talking to Gianni Cimini about what it takes for these final games when the margins are so razor thin with their playoff lives in the balance. There were 2 keys that he mentioned Good news for Toronto, they have been excellent at one of them, the defensive organization. However, the other, not so much, the capitalization of meaningful chances. Right now, Alex Gimbel might do that as he eludes a couple defenders. Gimbel for Alloway, cuts back. Alloway, up top, Adu Giamfi can't corral. Bobbled in the box, Ayari can't keep it in play. Chukwu, too much contact, and they'll draw a whistle. Eliadis. Bostonberry bodied off, but it flutters back towards Fisher. And delayed offside. Pat McDonald and Micah Chisholm stand alongside the fourth official. This will be the time for Michael Sullivan and Richard Chukwu to exit the match. Chukwu's had a lot of contributions, just working the ball upward on that far wing, and Michael Sullivan just trying to get his body in the box, the big frame he is, but a chance for Pat McDonald. He was the only man to score a goal for Toronto the last time out against New England Revolution. It was his first goal since April. It was also the first time that Toronto scored on the dot all season. And for Micah Chisholm making his way in, the 20-year-old, he's only played in 2 matches in 64 minutes across the entire month of August. For the Markham native, it's a cross for Quinton Elliott. 4 extra minutes to go. Elliott slithers by. Gimbel, Adams, Alloway recovers. Two defensive presences for Gianni Cimini between McDonald and Chisholm. Defense for defense, attacking midfielder for defensive midfielder. Potentially just trying to at least grab a point here and see what happens come penalties, because both teams have struggled in the penalty shootout this year. McDonald with the strip. He's got Ayari in front, trying to beat up Ferdinand. Ayari, McDonald into the box. McDonald's blocked. Chisholm races back as Sai lost his footing. Attempted cross goes for the throw. 1 minute down of 4. Service, header, held on by Abbott. Daquan Barrow, he's got such a great vertical, and that 6-foot frame has been so dangerous for Toronto FC too. Just happened to be that nothing has really gotten by. As we mentioned, Gianni Cimini might just try to hang tight and force penalties. However, his team have been dreadful in the extra period, to say the least. 1 win on 5 attempts. Granted, Columbus Crew 2, not much better, only 1 win on 3 attempts. Turnover in the attacking half by Adu Giamfi. Elliott with him. Grappled by McDonald, free kick for Columbus, 2 minutes deep of 4. Huntsville wait anxiously. If Columbus can pull it off in the clutch, Huntsville punch their ticket. Adu Giamfi and Elliott strategizing. as it is Quinton Elliott. Bobbled around. Only one with contact is Hassan Ayari as he tries to start the attack for Toronto. Full steam ahead, short of Iliadis. And Sai will put the attack on a screeching halt. Alex Gimbel with plenty of room, wanting to find Inza Kone, but he knew he was offside. Kone knew he was offside, he held off. And a delayed yellow card on Chase Adams after all that was said and done. Iliadis alone, all the way in front. Way to split the wickets on Holloway, but the recovery to Gimbel, and that'll do it. A hard-fought 90 minutes solves nothing. We go to the dot. An extra point will be earned. Penalty kicks coming up after no goal scored after 90 minutes. Points are split, extra one on the other end.
Action.
At the end of regulation, since the teams are tied on the scoreboard, the match will extend to a shootout, with each team having 5 attempts. If the teams are tied after 5 attempts, they will go to sudden death. The shootout winner will receive an extra point in the regular season standings.
90 minutes solves nothing. The full 3 points will not be had. So the sad news for Huntsville City is their playoff hopes will have to wait a little bit longer, because Toronto did get at least a point in the standings. And if somehow, some way, if Columbus Crew 2 can get the extra point, it does keep Cincinnati's hopes alive. If Toronto get the extra point, that requires Cincinnati in a must-win game against New England come Sunday. A lot of drama here at York Lions Stadium. Despite no goals scored, we will have at least one guaranteed. Good news for anyone who likes offense. Guaranteed we will have at least one goal in today's game. Question is how many more after that. Columbus Crew stifling defensively with 19 shots attempted and 4 on target that they had to face, with a goalkeeper in Keller Abbott at 16 years of age from the academy making his MLS Next Pro debut. He has kept them in this game numerous times, as has Adisa De Rosario. Adisa De Rosario has seen PK so many times throughout his 4-year MLS Next Pro career. However, he has struggled in the PK shootout, generally speaking. He has only gotten the extra point in 2 out of 12 PK shootouts across 4 seasons. Only 1 time off 4 this year. Toronto is a team. They've only gotten the extra point 1 time out of 5. "90 minutes solve nothing." We go into the extras. Brent Adu Giamfi will be the first taker. 2 goals in the 2025 season. The Richmond, Virginia native, the first to step up on Adisa de Rosario. To open the shootout. Got it. Adu Giamfi got it through. The experience within the MLS Next Pro program helped him on that one, especially with his offensive opportunities. And Pat McDonald, 90th minute substitution, formerly of the Indiana Hoosiers. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he scored the lone goal against New England Revolution last time out. It was from the dot. It was the first PK goal in regulation all year. Now he starts the shootout for Toronto. McDonald got it through. Abbott knew he had a chance but couldn't close the deal. And right down the gut goes Pat McDonald. No doubt about it. The captain for Columbus, Chris Rogers. Only one goal in his MLS Next Pro career between this year and last. That goal came back on April the 23rd in a match in New England for the third year back to start round 2. He scores, puts Columbus ahead. That time, both De Rosario and Rogers went to Rogers' left. But De Rosario could not get it through as you have another as you have the substitute captain, Mark Fisher, making his way in. The ex-Stanford Cardinal, second season with Toronto. Had a 2-month hiatus between June and August. He is the second shooter for the Young Reds. Fisher on Abbott. Tied again, 2-2. Basically take the same script on the Rogers shot and just mirror it. Instead of both on shooters left, that time it was all shooters right. And it's one of the most dangerous attackers in all of MLS Next Pro. Chase Adams, back-to-back 9-goal seasons in his second season. If you include just the goals in regulation, he's got 4 goals in the last 5. Adams, save De Rosario! De Rosario with the denial, trying to go middle low, but stuck the leg out to keep it out of the line. And with De Rosario, the first to hold strong, how does Keller Abbott respond? Top attacker for top attacker in round number 3. Keller Abbott stares down the barrel of the Tunisian Youth International, Hassan Ayori. And Toronto are ahead in round 3. Taking advantage of the De Rosario save. Both shooters left, just could not get the palm out. While the jersey is blank, the man is Ibrasai. 1 goal on the season. That was back on July 31st against the New York Red Bulls. Side to keep Columbus's hopes alive. Nails it. Continues Columbus's potential of getting the extra point 3-3 to start off frame 4. And the opportunity for the 90th minute substitute, Micah Chisholm, who has had plenty of experience over the last 2 years overseas in Germany. First year with Toronto for the 20-year-old back, Micah Chisholm. Ricocheted in. And the pressure goes back to Di Rosario. The negative thing for Keller Abbott is he has been getting nicks and clips on at least 2 or 3 of these tries, but not good enough. And one of the most intriguing prospects for Columbus Crew 2 is the man coming up next for Federico Higuain, Inza Kone, part of the French national futsal team. Has only been on the team for a week. Kone to keep Columbus alive. No! Toronto, hang on! Swarming the net, and Di Rosario keeps Columbus away. They get the extra point, and they increase the buffer in the playoff race. Adisa De Rosario has been fantastic a couple times in today's game. 8 shots against on Columbus, including 2 shots on target, 2 saves for Adisa De Rosario. He is your man of the match. A clean sheet in regulation, the save in the 3rd round to put the pressure on Columbus, and with a brand new striker as the final shooter, the mental games pay off for the veteran keeper, De Rosario. And Columbus can't come through. And Toronto, 2 points above the line as they keep the playoff hopes alive. What a fantastic shootout for Adisa De Rosario, as he has been an all-star keeper all year long. What an exciting match here at York Lions Stadium in Toronto. Don't forget to watch MLS Next Pro all season long on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Toronto and Columbus scoreless through 90, but TFC2 with the extra point in the shootout. For our entire MLS Next Pro crew, my name is Ryan Lee. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.